Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Dion and I could not find the top of my little mic thing today, so whatever. Also, I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, so if I sound kind of snotty, that's why. But today we're doing sort of a part two to a video I did last year called Spooky Girl Bosses Who Slay, aka scary movies that happen to have really good fashion. I try to choose these movies based on even if you don't like scary stuff, you would enjoy it simply from a fashion or costume lens. So yeah, I compiled 10 iconic girl bosses who I think have great style. So if you like spooky fashion and all things Halloween, definitely make sure to subscribe to my channel because I post videos every Thursday. And with that, let's get into it. How do y'all like the little decorations I did? If you follow me on TikTok and Instagram, you probably already saw it because I posted a full little reel over there. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, well, there you go. Yeah, got my little knickknacks around, very cute. And I'm wearing this House of CB dress I got from Poshmark. Not gonna lie, it's quite restricting in terms of movement. So if my movement is weird today, that's just what it is. Today's just an off day. So the first spooky girl boss I want to talk about is Brandy Norwood's character in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Last year, I talked about Helen Shivers, which is Sarah Michelle Gellar's character, and Brandy was only featured in the second movie of that franchise, but she was so iconic and it's become a cult fan favorite. Costume designer Dan Lester utilized costume design in the first film, especially with the character Helen, and the sequel continues the trend. Because the film takes place in the Bahamas, the outfits are midriff showing and very beachy. Brandy has her iconic micro braids and wears the best 2000s beachy outfits. I feel like she invented coastal cowgirl. The next group of spooky girl bosses who slay are the Stepford Wives from the movie Stepford Wives. This is a 1975 feminist horror movie, and listen, it's good. I really like it. The cinematography and the costuming is amazing, and it features some classic mid-century styles. Costume designer Anna Hill Johnson is known for her looks in The Godfather as well as The Wiz, and styled the perfect domestic robots in Laura Ashley floor-length, somewhat bohemian dresses with matching hats and gloves. The premise of the film is that Joanna is a artsy photographer in New York City, and her and her kids and her husband move to a community in Connecticut. She dresses like the hippest 70s city girl and is a major contrast to the hyper-feminine standard of the other wives. She has great downtown girl style. Towards the end of the film is where you get the best scene with the best costumes and dresses, and really that's what, when people reference the Stepford wife look, they're talking about that ending scene in that movie. Witches of Eastwick. Do you like massive hair? Then do I have the movie for you. This 1987 film features a quartet of powerhouses, including Cher, Susan Sarandon, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Jack Nicholson. Cher has some of the best costumes in the film, but Susan Sarandon's character goes through kind of a before and after transformation, and so it's really iconic when she does the after. She goes from frumpy music teacher to hot tennis star. The costume designer Aggie Rogers wanted Cher's character to embody a seductive, scrumptious widow, whereas Michelle Pfeiffer's character was a single mom of 6 and often in glamorous, silky PJs. Not only would this make a great trio Halloween costume, but overall the film's aesthetics are amazing and it's very campy. And if you like late 80s, early 90s fashion, you'll love this movie. Queen of the Damned. Who is more of a spooky girl boss than the Queen of the Damned? 2002, Queen of the Damned was based on Anne Rice's novel of the same title and her series Interview with the Vampire. Though it did not have great reviews, the costuming goes off. Rotten Tomatoes says, quote, "It's mainly an excuse for director Michael Raymer to unleash his arsenal of flashy MTV-type visuals and Moulin Rouge costume designer Angus Strathey to play dress up. She had black hair that was often braided in Egyptian style and long and curly when loose. Also, the best part of this movie is that you get to see the beautiful Aaliyah in her prime. The next spooky girl boss is Christine from Phantom of the Opera. I'm specifically talking about the 2004 movie. Costumes designed by Alexander Brine, the film is definitely a feast for the eyes. As research, she studied the relics of the era, such as paintings and original clothing, and her visits to Paris also gave her inspiration. She eventually created 300 costumes for the main characters and produced at least 2,000 additional costumes for those in the background. But her magnum opus, her piece de resistance, was the Masquerade costume for Christine, a big pink dress where she dances the fast waltz. Quote, "I wanted it to be light and buoyant and for it to have movement, says the designer. Keeping in with that theme, we have Katrina Van Tassel from Sleepy Hollow. Colleen Atwood and Tim Burton have worked together on a plethora of films, from Edward Scissorhands to Netflix's Wednesday. Quote, "The biggest challenge was the black and white dress worn by Miranda Richardson when she goes into the Tree of the Dead. I got the inspiration from a painting," Atwood says. "In the end, I made it my tribute to Adrian's black and white ball scene in the 1939 vintage film Marie Antoinette." Colleen Atwood stated that at the time, Christina Ricci had the perfect body for her period costumes because she's tiny yet curvaceous. One of the most iconic gowns from the film is the robe à la polonaise, which was a style of gown with a close-fitting bodice and at the back of the skirt gathered up into 3 separate puff sections to reveal petticoat below. The next spooky girl boss I want to talk about is the voodoo queen herself, Marie Laveau, played by Angela Bassett and Ryan Murphy's AHS Coven. Lou Eyrich has been working with Ryan Murphy on AHS for a while, most iconic of which being 2013 season Coven. The witches in said coven donned fabulous outfits expressing their own witchy style. She says, quote, "Well, of course, it's all about the hat, and every outfit starts with the shoes. I think of a witch shoe or boot, pointed, then at a hat. Then again, Coven proves that you can have so many different kinds of witches, like Nan in her pilgrim chic or Queenie in her badass jeans and fedora. And although the walking witch outfits are adorable and iconic, I personally think Angela Bassett's character is the best." Marie Laveau was a real person, a hairdresser in the French Quarter of New Orleans in the 1850s. She practiced black magic rituals and sometimes used hair clippings of her clients, allegedly. While living in the 19th century, her attire was that of long and elegant dresses. In postmodern New Orleans, her style is more modern, wearing dresses of varied color with antiquated hairstyles. When she performs rituals, she wears white clothes and a tignon. Continuing with the Ryan Murphy theme is Scream Queens, which I believe is a very underrated spooky TV series. It's so campy, it's so over the top, and it's truly like a marriage between Glee and American Horror Story. Designer, once again, Lou Eyrich, says on designing the girls, quote, "The Kappa girls are all in pastels in theory, very expensive clothes. They're really put together, perfectly coiffed, nails done, shoes matching the outfits, and makeup done pristinely. That whole polished look, which is completely unrealistic on a college campus. Main inspiration of the costuming for the Chanels was of course Chanel and Jeremy Scott for Moschino, who often poked fun at Chanel. For the pledges, she really wanted the girls to have a specific and unique style. I really like Kiki Palmer's character, Zayday in Scream Queens. Quote, "Ryan wanted Zayday to have style, street style like you'd see on the tutorial list. She's smart, sassy, cool, she could run for president. Kiki wears clothes beautifully, so we had a lot of fun playing with mixing vintage with Topshop and adding quirky shoe that didn't match but looked killer on her." The next and second to last spooky girl boss who absolutely slays is Catwoman. And for this, I'm going to talk about 3 of my favorite Catwomans. My top 3 are going to be 2004's Catwoman with Halle Berry, the 1967 Eartha Kitt's Catwoman in Batman, and Michelle Pfeiffer's 1992 Batman Returns. Julie Neymar was actually the first Catwoman, and she insisted on creating her own costume for the role, in which Eartha Kitt later used when she was in the 3rd and final season of Batman. Kitt played the character during a turbulent period in the country's civil rights movement, when seeing a black woman as unapologetically sexual and cunning as Kitt on screen was extremely rare, making her mesmerizing turn as Catwoman all the more powerful. 1992's Batman Returns features probably the most famous and well-loved Catwoman portrayal, which was designed by Mary Voigt and Bob Ringwood. Seen as unstable, unnerving, and unraveling character, the chaotic white stitching throughout the costume represents Catwoman's mental state, coming apart at the seams, literally. Director Tim Burton said, quote, "That was a fun costume design, to put the stitching in there to kind of represent her patchwork, a fragmentation of character." 2004's Catwoman probably gets the most hate for being the worst, and whatever, we don't have to talk about the plot or the acting, but Halle Berry in that costume looks amazing. It's more overtly sexy than her predecessors. Berry broke away from the typical suiting and went with a leather bra strap and harness and ripped up leather trousers. She went with a helmet-style cat mask and open-toed heels. With Catwoman's signature bicep-length gloves fabricated in leather, she also rocks rhinestone-encrusted nails for an extra dose of glam, and I think that's iconic. And last but not least, truly a spooky girl boss who slays, Mistress of the Dark, Elvira. Obviously, I was pretty inspired by Elvira. For this look, I didn't feel like doing my hair. Like I said, I'm feeling kind of down, but I try to at least look a little bit spooky. Elvira is a character by queer icon Cassandra Peterson and has an incredibly iconic look. Big hair, long black dress, and tits to the gods. Originally starting out as a hostess of B-grade horror movie presentations, she later became a Halloween icon and got her own movies, comics, songs, and games. Cassandra's family actually owned a costume shop, which she credits her iconic looks to. Quote, "I had the best costumes of any kid, starting in 2nd grade. I won every contest. Whatever was hot on TV, I remember my first costume contest, I dressed as Miss Kitty from Gunsmoke. I won a $100 bond. Every year, I was dressed as a character. From Dream of the Genie or Ginger from Gilligan's Island, whatever was the hot character." Iconic. She has been iconic since day one. And if you haven't seen Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, I highly recommend it. And with that, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know down below what spooky girl boss is your favorite, and definitely watch last year's video because I think I talked about 5 or so movies in there as well. But I'm always open to know who is your favorite spooky girl boss. And also let me know what else you'd like to see from me this October. I have a little bit of a lineup, but I mean, feel free to leave suggestions down below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up because it really helps out my channel. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram because I post content there almost every single day. And with that, have a happy day. Bye.